is the most famous queen of ancient Egypt still hidden in a secret chamber in Tutankhamun's tomb. For over a century, archaeologists have been searching for the final resting place of Nefertiti, the powerful wife of the pharaoh Akhenaten. Some believe she is lost to time, while others are convinced her mummy is tantalizingly close, just waiting to be discovered. Today, we're diving deep into one of history's greatest mysteries. We'll explore the groundbreaking theories, the cutting-edge technology used in the search, and the controversies that have shaken the world of Egyptology. Get ready, because the story of Nefertiti's lost tomb is a real-life treasure hunt filled with twists, turns, and the promise of a discovery that could rewrite history. So, who was Nefertiti? She wasn't just any queen. Her name means the beautiful one has come, and from the famous bust discovered in 1912, we can see why. But she was more than just a pretty face. Nefertiti lived during the 18th dynasty, a period of immense wealth and power in Egypt. She was the great royal wife of Pharaoh Akhenaten, and together, they sparked the revolution that turned Egypt upside down. They abandoned the traditional pantheon of gods and goddesses worshipped for centuries and introduced a new religion focused on a single deity, the Aten, or the sun disk. This was a radical move. They even moved the capital city from Thebes to a brand new city they built from scratch, called Amarna. Nefertiti wasn't a passive queen hiding in the palace. Inscriptions and artwork from the time show her in positions of incredible power, sometimes depicted with the same authority as the pharaoh himself. She's shown smiting enemies and leading worship, roles usually reserved for kings. This has led many to believe she was more than just a queen. She may have even ruled as a co-regent alongside her husband and perhaps even as a pharaoh in her own right after his death under a different name like Nefertiti or Smenkhare. But despite her immense influence during her lifetime, after the Amarna period ended, her legacy was systematically erased by later pharaohs who wanted to return to the old ways. Her temples were dismantled, her name was chiseled from monuments, and she vanished from the historical record, creating the mystery that endures to this day. Where was she buried? The search for Nefertiti's tomb is like a global detective story. For a long time, the Valley of the Kings, the royal burial ground for pharaohs, was the primary focus. But despite decades of excavation, no tomb has ever been definitively identified as hers. This has led to all sorts of theories. Some experts believe she was buried in Amarna, the city she helped create. Several tombs have been explored there, but none have yielded her remains. Others suggest her mummy might be one of the unidentified royal mummies discovered in caches like KV-35 or K-55, which were group burials used to protect royal remains from tomb robbers. For example, two female mummies found in the tomb of Amenhotep II, known as the Younger Lady and the Elder Lady, have been subjects of intense debate. Through DNA testing, the Elder Lady was identified as Queen Tai, mother of Akhenaten. For a while, many hoped the Younger Lady would be Nefertiti. DNA analysis later revealed she was the mother of Tutankhamun and a sister to her husband, Akhenaten, making her likely one of Akhenaten's other wives, but not Nefertiti, who was not known to be his sister. The DNA puzzle just added another layer of complexity. So, if she's not in Amarna, and she's not one of the unidentified mummies, where could she be? This brings us to the most electrifying theory of the last decade, one that placed Nefertiti right next to her famous stepson, Tutankhamun. In 2015, the British Egyptologist Nicholas Reeves was examining high-resolution scans of the walls in Tutankhamun's tomb, KV-62. He noticed something extraordinary. Behind the painted plaster, he saw what appeared to be faint lines, straight and unnatural, suggesting the outlines of sealed doorways. His hypothesis was explosive. Tutankhamun's tomb was never meant for him. It was merely the small, outer section of a much larger tomb complex, a tomb originally designed for a queen, specifically Nefertiti. According to Reeves, Tutankhamun's death at the young age of 19 was unexpected. The priests needed a tomb, and fast. So, they reopened Nefertiti's recently completed tomb, placed Tutankhamun in the antechamber, and sealed the wall, plastering and painting over it to hide the entrance to her burial chamber beyond. This theory made sense on many levels. Tutankhamun's tomb is unusually small for a pharaoh. Many of his treasures, including his famous golden mask, seem to have been originally made for someone else, possibly a female, and then repurposed for him. The layout of the tomb itself feels more like a queen's tomb than a king's. The idea that Nefertiti's pristine, untouched burial chamber was lying just feet away from where Howard Carter stood in 1922 was mind-blowing. The world held its breath. Could we be on the verge of the biggest archaeological discovery since King Tut himself? The excitement was palpable. Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities authorized a series of non-invasive scans using advanced ground-penetrating radar. The first round of scans, conducted by a Japanese team in 2015, seemed to confirm Reeves' theory. The data indicated the presence of empty spaces, or voids, behind the north and west walls of the burial chamber. They even detected what they believed could be organic and metallic materials. The news went global. It seemed a secret door was about to be opened. However, as with any good mystery, there was a plot twist. A second set of scans was conducted, this time led by a team from National Geographic, using different frequencies and techniques. Their results were inconclusive. Then, a third, even more extensive series of radar scans was carried out by a team from the Polytechnic University of Turin, Italy. They used multiple types of radar, scanning from inside the tomb and from the surface of the valley above. In 2018, they delivered their final verdict. With a very high degree of confidence, they announced that there were no hidden chambers, no secret corridors, and no sealed-off voids behind the walls of Tutankhamun's tomb. It was a heartbreaking conclusion for many. The beautiful, simple theory of Nefertiti resting just beyond the wall was, according to the best science available, just a mirage. So, where does that leave us? Is this search over? Absolutely not. While the Tutankhamun tomb theory has been largely debunked, it reignited global interest in Nefertiti and pushed the boundaries of technology and archaeology. The search continues, just with a wider focus. Archaeologists are now re-examining the Valley of the Kings. Remember, it's a huge area, and we've only scratched the surface. Just a few years ago, a new radar survey of the area around Tutankhamun's tomb suggested another potential anomaly, labeled 65, though its existence is yet to be confirmed by excavation. Another promising location is the lesser-explored West Valley, an area near the main Valley of the Kings, where some 18th dynasty royals were buried. Could Nefertiti have chosen a more secluded spot, away from the main cluster of tombs, to protect her legacy? Dr. Zahi Hawass, a former minister of antiquities in Egypt, has been leading an excavation in the West Valley, convinced that Nefertiti's tomb is still out there waiting. He believes, like many others, that she did rule as pharaoh after Akhenaten, and therefore would have been buried as one in the Valley of the Kings. The mystery of Nefertiti's final resting place is what makes her so captivating. She was a powerful figure who helped shape a unique period of history, only to be systematically erased from it. Finding her tomb would be more than just finding a mummy and treasure. It would give us a direct link to this fascinating and controversial era. It could answer so many questions. Did she rule as pharaoh? What did she really look like? What secrets were buried with her about the Amarna revolution? Her tomb is the missing piece of the puzzle. One thing is for sure, the hunt for Nefertiti is far from over. With every new excavation and each advance in technology, we get one step closer. The Valley of the Kings has surprised us before, and it could surprise us again. Perhaps one day soon, we'll see headlines that a new, untouched royal tomb has been found, and inside, the long-lost Queen Nefertiti. What do you think? Is she hidden in Tutankhamun's tomb despite the scans, buried somewhere else in the Valley of the Kings? Or is her mummy lost to history forever? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks so much for joining this archaeological adventure. If you're fascinated by ancient mysteries like this one, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into history's greatest secrets. See you next time.